I'm going to turn it over to the hostess with the most over at Ocean Wise in Vancouver Aquarium. And we can see that that turtle again is asking for lots of attention. He's quite near the screen. So let's turn it over to Nicole in Vancouver.
So welcome again to the section. I'm Nicole and I'm from the Vancouver Aquarium here in Vancouver, British Columbia. So feel free to type in your hometown as well as where you're at so I can know where you're from. And now here I am at the Vancouver Aquarium. And behind me is our exhibit about sharks and sea turtles. And for Vancouver Aquarium is actually one of our initiatives for Ocean Wise Conservation Association. So what we do is we try to investigate the ocean. We try to conduct a lot of research in order to know more about our local waters as well as the waters around Canada. So one of our job is to learn about the Arctic as well as the local waters here in BC, St. Lawrence River, as well as we try to convey all the scientists' knowledge and try to convert in a very easy content, easy to read content for all of us to really enjoy and learn about the amazing ocean. So I'm really happy to share my experience here at the traditional land of the Coast Salish people, including Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. So today we're going to learn something that is very mystical, and they're actually deep under the sea, around 5,000 meters depth. And today I'm not going to talk a lot, but I want you to do some activity with me. So I have a challenge for you that I want you to create your own creature for the deep sea ocean. So we are going to take a little journey, a trip together and dive into the ocean and try to learn about some coolest facts about the animals down there and what we can do in order to make your creatures survive in that harsh environment. So far, I have friends from Ontario, from Richmond, BC, from Sunshine Coast. Wow, nice. So we're going to dive in right now. So let me share my screen here and show you all about how we actually have our zoning in our ocean. So here we have photos from NOAA, which is a U.S. department trying to manage and try to learn, investigate about the ocean. So for our ocean, we have 3 zones. So for sunlight zones that where sharks and sea turtles can be seen, they're from sunlight, where you can have sunlight for photosynthesis. They have most abundant food over there. And in the middle part, we have twilight zone. So it's getting more darker, less sunlight can be passed through. And eventually we have midnight zone where there's complete darkness over there. And then we have more animals that yet to be discovered. So now we're going to dive deep to see what's going on underneath. And this is one of the coolest equipment that the scientists have, and this is called the Deep Discoverer. So it's a very large scale equipment, and you can see there's person standing beside it, and you can estimate how high and how big it is. So this is something that scientists deploy and allow it to travel 4,000 meters deep and try to take high definition pictures and videos. And they do have sensitive equipment and also device in order to sense the surrounding area. And they do have 2 arms from the mechanical parts so that they can try to capture or collect specimens for scientists to really learn about the chemical composition as well as the distribution of different kind of animals. So when we dive into the ocean, you might see something like this. We have less animals there, but we have some creatures that is bizarre, weird, yet some people may think they are cute. They're slow moving everywhere. They are all fish. And we do have rays down there, but the color is relatively dull. And we do have other fish with different kind of adaptations on their body, which we will talk about it later. We have sharks. We have six-gill sharks in the bottom of the sea, and they all being captured by this equipment called the Deep Discoverer. That is so cool. So here we have our equipment. We're inside. We're going to go deeper and deeper. So we're going to see a lot of different kind of animals, but they have different adaptations. So adaptation means for that animals or plants, they have body structure or they have behavior so that they can adapt to the changes in the environment rapidly. So for the animals down there, they have to cope with different situation. I would like you to ask. I would like you to answer a question for me. So, what do you think those animals will encounter? What type of problems will they face when they are actually swimming in deep ocean? 5 seconds for you to think of. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, I saw I saw answer of high pressures and bigger things can eat them. There's predators that no sun, they cannot see. There are people may try to harvest to fish them. That's right. Predators mainly. So cool. So for the deep sea animals, they have to withstand high pressure. So what is mean by high pressure is that imagine there's a balloon on your hand and you try to squeeze it. So when you squeeze it, you're actually applying force to change the shape of the balloon, and we call it pressure. So it's same in the ocean. So when you go deep down, the pressure is getting higher and higher. So there's a lot of forces pressing on you, and you feel like you are going to be squeezed in a smaller and smaller object. So that is how the animals have the feeling of high pressure down there. So for the high pressure, they for the animals, they do have adaptations in order to survive. So I'm going to show you another video, which I think is really cool. And they're actually, for the animals, they're actually trying to adapt to the environment. So bear with me for a second. Right, here we go. Oops, let me check. Right, let's see. So for the animals there, we have, so this one is one of the fish, but what I want to show is a very large animal. So this is the sperm whale, where you can find it even down 1,000 meters deep, and they're really really large. They have 200,000 individuals that can travel from sea to sea, and you can really see them in deep sea as well. So they're really cool at trying to adapt to those high pressure when they dive really deep to 1,000 meters down there. So what they do is actually they try to collapse their rib cage. So we have rib cage as well. So try to touch your rib cage a little bit. You'll find it's really, really hard. And for whales, because they are mammals as well, they do have the rib cage with like us, and they try to fill or they try to reduce the size of the rib cage in order to withstand the high pressure that they have when they try to dive in, so that they can use less energy, use less oxygen, and then try to withstand those pressured environments. So this is a really cool one because I never know that actually for a sperm whale, they can really dive that deep. So this is one of the animals that how they can actually adapt to the high pressure environment. So some of you actually said the environment down there is really, really dark. So I want you to use your hand to cover your eyes a little bit, and it will be complete darkness. So if you are a deep sea animals, you may want to have adaptations in order to survive. So back to the little activities about create creatures for the deep sea. Can you type it on the chat box of how would you do in order to make your creature more adaptive to the environment that dark? Right, type in answer. How can your creatures or the deep sea animals adapt to such a dark environment? Ooh. Yeah, we have a shark fly, and it's sharks that you can see in shallow waters. It's called black rift keep shark. Eyesight bioluminescence. Whoa, that's a great word. Right. So let me show you another video about that. So the deep sea animals, they're really, really famous for their bioluminescence. So here we go. Oops. Minute. Today my PowerPoint seems to be a bit crazy. Let me check. Here we go. So we have a lot of jellyfish down there. Almost 50% of the jellyfish are living in deep sea area. And they do have bioluminescence where they can actually produce light using chemicals inside the bodies. So they make their own lights. So different jellyfish, they have different color of the bioluminescence. And most of them actually using bioluminescence in order to escape from the predators because it's kind of a warning sign for the predators like sharks or even whales in order to scare them away. And some of the animals like this one, we call it the goose fish. This is one of the coolest one that you can see under near the sea bottom, and it's called a goose fish. They actually use light in order to attract their prey. So they usually feed on fish or even squid. So what they do is they try to produce light here in the yellow circle, which is like an antenna on there. And then they have lights at the end of the antenna. And they try to attract those prey slowly, very slowly, and they do not move very quickly. And we call it ambush. So they wait for opportunities. They use their light as a lure so that to attract the prey. And then when a prey, like a little fish, actually come by, and they can swallow the fish as a whole. And that's right. There will be some organic matters around as well, but they are actually that body or even some leftover from some animals or the prey that haven't eaten by sharks or even sea turtles from the surface of water. Okay. So this is how the animals they can try to adapt to dark environment by having bioluminescence, and they try to either escape from the predators using the light or attract prey in order to increase the chance to get food. And speaking of food, actually for a lot of animals down deep, they cannot find a lot of food because most of the food are actually available in the surface water. And when you go deep down, not many animals or fish can actually go deep down. So that's why for animals there, they have to find more adaptations and behavior in order to get as much food as they can. So now I have another question for you. You know how all those animals actually find their food in dark environments, apart from using bioluminescence? So 5 more seconds. Giant mouth, nose. Oh, right. Echolocation, feel for the food. Whiskers. Oh, senses. All right, so let me try to share my screen again, and we will know the answer right away. So it's kind of a little bit gross, but it's actually some specimen collected from the scientists that use the deep discoverer. So this is called a common fang tooth. So it's named after the teeth structure that they have because it's just like the thing that the snake has. So this is a black one, and they usually got the length of 17 centimeters long, and they usually eat fish and squid down there. And what they do is actually they make good use of their senses. So if you take a look at the eyes, they're quite big so that they can try to look at much more a far distance that they can. And if you take a look at the mouth, it's relatively big. It is of a very big jaw, so they can swallow the fish as a whole in seconds. And with the help of the sharp teeth, they can secure their food in one go. That means they can kill the fish just in seconds so that they can secure the food and swallow it as fast as they can. So this is one of the coolest fish that I've seen, even though it's quite scary, but yeah, this is so cool. Another one is that is called the chimera. So this is another cool fish, and it's closely related to sharks. So yeah, another name of it is called a goldfish. I want you to touch your nose a little bit, and you will feel we have cartilage on your nose. And the reason why I say for this kind of chimera, they are actually closely related to sharks is that they have cartilage just like sharks do. So they're actually called the redfish, the ghost fish, but their name for this kind of fish, we call it the chimera. Someone said it's kind of cute. Yeah, it's true. And one of the coolest things that they have is actually they have senses on their head. So what they do is that a they have a lot of sensory cells, we call it receptors, on their head, and it forms a line. And that one, we have receptors around so that they create electric field and they try to sense the change in water current so that they can use electric field to really locate their prey, such as fish and squid. So this is what the scientists have recorded for us. It's really cool and is something that the scientists are really interested in knowing more about it. And last but not least, in cold environment for those deep sea animals, and because they have to conserve their energy, so that for a lot of animals they are slow moving. So for the chimera just that I just shown you, they're really slow. They wait for every opportunities and they will just stay near the sea floor. And when fish came by, they can capture it just in seconds. So they do not use much energy. They try to save them for hunting their prey. So for the last photo that I want to show you is that, okay, here we go. A very cute octopus. We call it the Dumbo octopus. And they have a fin that looks like the ears of Dumbo, the Disney characters. So that's why it's named after Dumbo, Dumbo octopus. And they do have the similar structure as the octopus do. They have arms, they have tentacles, and they have eyes near around so that they can actually prey on food like crabs, clam down there as well. So from this video, you can see it's actually very, very slow moving animals. And they usually flap their ear-like fin in order to move around, but they're actually aggressive. And the fun fact for us to know is that they have no predators at all because they usually eat of crabs and they do not have fish that can find them easily. So they do not have predators, and no human would actually try to catch them too. So we're going to the bottom of the ocean, and you now see a vent where the temperature is really, really high, but surprisingly, there are a lot of animals living around, like shrimp, crabs. They need energy that is released from this vent, and this is one of the coolest things. And for some scientists, they're actually looking for some more habitats and learn about the relationship between the animals and those habitat as well. So here we have coral reef down there as well. For scientists, this is a new piece of information because for corals, they're usually found in shallow water near tropical and subtropical area. But now, because of the deep discover the equipment
in the water.
that's why now scientists are able to find those corals deep down 4,000 meters from the surface water. So you can see they're really, really pale in color, but there's animals inside, living inside. And one thing that I learned from deep sea coral is that they have symbiotic relationship where a lot of animals are trying to protect those corals by trying to fight against sea urchin down there and try which will actually eat and prey on those corals skeleton. So that's why they have a symbolic relationship where corals provide habitats for invertebrates like the shrimp as well as tooth worms. But at the same time, for the tooth worms and also for the shrimp, they try to get rid of the predators of corals in order to make it safe. So we have a lot of habitats, we have a lot of animals, and each of them have a lot of adaptations in order to survive in dark, in to find the food, as well as to withstand the high pressure there. For now, I would like to take some questions before we jump to the next session.
That was so amazing to see those incredible deep sea animals that we don't normally see. So do students, do you have any questions about those or even the underwater explorer that went down? Because I'm sure Nicole knows that. What breed does Dumbo come from? What breed of animal does that come from? The Dumbo octopus.
Dumbo octopus. They actually distribute widely in the ocean, and for most of them, actually they can found in Pacific Ocean. So we have a very deep trend called the Marina trend, and it's of 4,000 meters depth, and they do have a lot of Dumbo octopus out there.
So I think the students want to know how about that explorer, about how much it's worth, who went down in it, because that's kind of a legendary story, and how many people can fit in that thing, and where they went in the Marianas Trench.
Wow, that is a good question. So for Deep Discoverer, is actually a device deployed by the scientists, but it's actually being controlled remotely. So there's no scientists being able to stay inside that the submarine. But for the history of discovering the deep ocean, only 3 humans are able to go that deep in order to take a look at the environment and the animals down there. So with the advanced knowledge, the 3 scientists actually tried to travel 4 hours and 47 minutes in order to get to the deepest point of the trend that is called a Challenger Deep. And they found a lot of new species and also a lot of resources as well. For a scientist that I've talked to and learned about the ocean, deep ocean, they said that every time when they dive into that deep sea area, they will find a lot of new species each time. So yeah, being for the ocean being having a 5% of them being discovered and the rest of it is undiscovered. So it's the scientists' work and their interest, the passion to learn more about those mysterious animals down
Is it true that it was James Cameron, the director of Titanic, that went down there?
there. Yeah, I heard about that as well, but I have to really look into more details. But I heard a lot of um, friends of mine actually talked about the director of Titanic actually went there and tried to take a look too.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing. Daniel would like to know how cold it is at the bottom of the ocean.
So it's actually -1 to 4 degrees Celsius. And for some of the part for the ocean, they have vents there where the temperature is higher. Sometimes it will higher as like 1,000 degrees Celsius, but surprisingly, there are a lot of animals that actually manage to survive in such a high temperature. So scientists are actually learning about it as well.
Is that because they would have underwater volcanoes close by?
Yeah, and we call it the thermal vents there, and there will be a lot of chemicals or nutrients available for the animals.
It's such a cool fact. So I think most of the students were really fascinated with the Dumbo octopus. They Damsgaard wants to know how old can he live for?
Cool. For the Dumbo octopus, some of them can actually live near 20 years old. For 20 years, they usually being very ambushed and they will stay near the seafloor. And as there's no predators, they can actually find a food without being harmed or being captured by other animals.
It's nice to be the top predator in the area, I guess.
Yeah.
Those deep sea animals, do some have good eyesight and are some are blind? Clara would like to know.
Yeah, some of them actually do not rely on their eyesight. So therefore, as time goes by, as there's evolution, so their eyesight being eliminated. So some of them are blind. And for some of the animals like fish or even the chimera that we just mentioned, they have really good eyesight because they need their eyesight to find those tiny bioluminescence around them in order to catch their prey.
So thanks for all those answers, Nicole. Why don't we go to the next section, because I know that you need to go, and yeah, I know that you're on a time schedule, so over to you.
So as I mentioned before, for our ocean, we only discover or learn about 5% of it. And scientists are actually learning more and more about the deep sea ocean. And so, uh, unfortunately, we do have a lot of habitat destruction down there, even it's so deep down that is far away from us. So because of the scientific research, we learned that there are a lot of resources down there, and there's actually companies or manufacturers. They are seeking opportunities to really extract those resources, like the coal and also the chemicals, the metals down there. So a lot of companies are actually investigating their money. They try to invest their money in order to get to the deep sea area and try to collect those metals. At the same time, we do find a lot of plastics deep down to the sea floor. So if you take a look at the news recently, in I think March or late March, there is a news that scientists found a new species of invertebrates, and they decide to name it as plastics because they found plastics, especially for microplastic, inside their body. So that's why it gained a lot of attention because people, especially for the public, they do not know that plastic appears everywhere. They're everywhere. So, besides learning about the ocean, we have to take our actions seriously, like trying to reduce our plastic use in daily life and try to be more responsible citizens and to manage your waste management as well. And because of the deep ocean, we have a lot of mystery down there. So it's very important for scientists really to take a look at the issues and try to learn more about the relationship of the ecosystem as well as the animals so that we can try to manage our ocean much better than now. What we can do is what we all can actually do is that we can actually try to learn more about the deep ocean. We try to figure out what's going on with the companies and also for the country. So the more know, we have a bigger picture of what the deep sea ocean is and what are the threats that they are facing, and try to contribute yourself to some scientific investigation, like we said. We do have a lot of citizen science programs that you can involve in and try to learn more by going to education.ocean.org. We have an online platform for you as well. So we have games, we have videos, we have interactive session with our educators. So if you have any questions, feel free to type into that online platform, and I and also my friends in the crew will try to answer them one by one. And of course, I just challenge you to have your creatures for the deep sea. So try to draw it on a paper with the adaptation you think is the coolest one, and try to upload it to our online learning platform and see. Let me see what's your creation is.
So thanks, Nicole. That's a great challenge for the students. And in addition, boys and girls, if Sierra, you can do that for sure. That would be great. If you guys could also share with, it's not, for some reason, I can't share my screen. I can only share content. So if Katie, can you come back and maybe share your screen to show the students where they can, oh, I need to be hoping, where they can upload their work, please? Because I'm the host. There you go. Okay. So students, if you can do that, do some artwork and share it with us. We will share with Nicole, and I'm sure Nicole will share with us as well. We're going to have it done today. Awesome, Sierra. We'll look forward to seeing that. It's all the way down at the bottom. Oh, Katie's.
Oh,
Right there. So at the bottom of connectednorth.org at home, you can go to contact us, add your name, email, and choose your file. And you can make the drawing as detailed as you want, Sierra. That's awesome. So Melanie, thanks for coming today with the kids. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon for yoga, and Joe Crone, the musician. And thanks, Nicole, as always. That was fascinating to see those creatures that nobody really gets a chance to see, even if you're a scuba diver, because scuba divers can't go that far.
cool.
That was awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, you guys. Awesome.